Greater love hath no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. John chapter 15, verse 13. Good morning, temporary YouTubers. It is Sunday, March 4th, 2018, and I'm John Kelly bringing you some new Q information. Q made some drops last night and this morning, and there is a lot to go through. So let's get started. But before we do, I think it's really important to remember those that have come before us, that have paid the ultimate price, so that you and I even have the opportunity to stand up for what we believe in, that we even have the opportunity to fight for what's right, that we even have the opportunity to be here and live in the greatest country in the world. And although it's important to remember those who've paid the ultimate price, it's also important to remember the families who have also suffered in a way that most of us couldn't possibly imagine. Families have been broken, mothers, fathers, sons, daughters lost, just so that you and I can have the opportunity to pursue happiness. All right, let's get right into this. So Q makes a drop last night, March 3rd, 2018, 10:03 p.m. This is a direct rally cry to you and I, the American people, the patriots of this country. He says, stay together, be strong, get organized. And this is something I would love to do. I feel somewhat of a lone wolf out here. I know that's been done systematically. All the people that I have followed have either been silenced, have been their content has been completely removed. So that's really what has led me to even do this. I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing this for followers. I am just doing this to try and get the word out to the American public and find ways that you and I together can be strong, we can get organized, and we can be heard. So if there are anybody out there that has any ideas as far as how we can get together, get organized, be heard, fight the censorship, I would love to hear that. And there's been a lot of great comments below. Many minds are much brighter than mine, and I really appreciate all the feedback, and I really appreciate the constructive criticism and the constructive input that everybody has been participating in. So kudos. Next, you, the people, have all the power. You simply forgot how to play. Together, you are invincible. So here he is telling us how to play. We have to be together. And together, we have all the power. They want you divided. That's the only way they can take the power, is if they divide us, which you're seeing what the mainstream media does. Everything is so divisive. Trump's a racist. 69% of America thinks he's a xenophobe. This is all crap. These are the same polls from the 2016 election. They don't care about your interests. They don't care about your opinion. The only thing they care about is pushing their own narrative and dividing the people of this country to bring it down. They want you silenced. They don't want to hear what you have to say. Make noise. Make your voices heard. We are with you. Make it rain. Now, this may be the first time in my lifetime where I have felt like the people at the top of the country are behind the people of America. It is the people of America that are leading this country now. It's not the politicians. And we have the right man in office to lead that charge right now. So we need to take advantage of this time. Make it rain. This is a term that is great. I mean, it relates to athletics. It also relates to the military. And if anybody else has any other opinions or what it might mean to them, but make it rain to me reminds me of somebody who's in the zone, who can't miss, who is unstoppable. In the military sense, it reminds me of dropping bombs, making it rain, dominating, imposing your will. So this is a rally cry to us, and what encouragement, or how nice that is to hear from somebody who's behind the curtain. And here is a message that clearly looks like it is to field operators. Zebra, Bring the thunder. Make it rain. Killbox 1A minus 23x. And you can see that is in the kill box, the brackets here. Light T 1A 23 go 5. Right in front of us, guys. I don't know what any of that means. I'm glad I don't. But there are the commands. Here, this is his next post. Again, this is from last night, March 3rd, 2018 at 10:23. He says, a demonstration was made today in front of the White House. And if you remember what happened in front of the White House, a man shot himself in front of the White House. It showed they can control innocence. By innocence, he's referring to innocent people, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but to me, he's talking about mind control. It was a direct threat, and he's referring to the White House and the administration. They're being threatened through these actions. You saw the same thing with the motorcade. I don't know if that was mind control. I don't really know the details behind it. I believe another threat was when the Secret Service driver was found with a loaded pistol in his trunk, which Q made very clear security went live. And I believe his exact words was, "This is not a game," which he says again, "This is not a game." The mainstream media is creating emotional conflict. This distables certain minds to become susceptible to outside control. Again, he's referring to mind control. Innocent people, vulnerable people. What you see is 2%. The war is real. These people are sick. Watch the news this week. This is heavy stuff, guys. It's really hard to believe for most of us that there are people in this world, not only in this world, but in our government, that are willing to sacrifice people's lives. And I mean that literally and figuratively, whether it's physically taking their life or figuratively ruining it to where they can no longer function in a society, is the most demonic, evil, sick thing I could ever imagine. And I think that there's a lot more. I think that this sickness goes far deeper than what's being revealed to us now. And here he says, what I say, a class action lawsuit. So you notice the sentence structure is not correct. It should say, what did I say was a class action lawsuit? When is it effective? Who controls the narrative? Who wrote the singular censorship algorithm? Who deployed the algorithm? Who instructed them to deploy the algorithm? Same embedded across platforms. That's a statement. That's not a question. He's suggesting that all these platforms are all being manipulated by the same algorithm. Why? Why is the timing relevant? Where is Snowden? Why did Eric Schmidt leave Google? Why has North Korea out of the news cycle? Again, the sentence structure is not correct. It should be, why has North Korea been out of the news cycle? Again, referring to the past, like up here. What did I say was a class action lawsuit? So again, he's making these past correlations. Define false flag. Well, I looked that up on WikiLeaks, and here we have it. False flag. Not that Wikipedia is the end-all be-all, but I thought it was a good start. False flag refers to to covert operations designed to deceive. The deception creates the appearance of a particular party or group or nation being responsible for some activity, disguising the actual source of responsibility. So a false flag is essentially a covert operation that's designed to be deceitful or deceive. Interesting. What's happened, do you think, in the recent past that could have been a false flag? What events changed or change the news cycle? Again, it's more than one in many cases. Sometimes it is just one. Can you think of any that have happened recently? I think we can. Why didn't LV change the news cycle? You have more than you know, which Q often finishes his posts with. You have more than you know. Boom. Q. This is excellent, guys. So let's go back through this real quick. Now, I pulled some information from one of the Anons on here, and I thought had some really good answers to some of these questions. So for the first one, where he says, what I say, a class action lawsuit, when is it effective? Well, it's effective when all the necessary proof is present and the public is crying out for truth. They want justice. They want to know what the reality is. That's when, it's effective, is when the people want it. Who controls the narrative? Well, we know that the mainstream media is just a sham. It is a complete joke. The cabal, the deep state, the Illuminati, the whatever you want to call them, that's who controls the mainstream media. Who wrote the singular censorship algorithm? Who deployed the algorithm? Some think that could be Jack there at Twitter, could be Snowden, could be Eric Schmidt. We know that these are black hat operators and they are corrupt. Who instructed them to deploy it? Controllers of the system, the black hats, the deep state, the Illuminati. I don't know. We're trying to figure that out, who these people are and what their role is. I think everybody wants to know. Same embedded across multiple platforms. Again, he's saying this is a fact that they know. Why? Well, it gives them simultaneous control of the narrative, and it does it in a collective effort where each platform stands together. Like the people of America, when the people of America stand together, it's a much stronger structure. It's unstoppable. But in the case here, you have these different platforms working together to shift a narrative, in the darkness of night or at 4 a.m. for basically massive manipulation of public opinion. Why is the timing relevant? Where is Snowden? Good questions. True objectivity of this censorship are to keep autists and enraged patriots occupied and on the defensive about censorship, while the real things that need digging are going unnoticed. So it's the same playbook as a false flag with the Second Amendment assault attached to it. And you're seeing that. CNN and the people that are going on the mainstream media, MSNBC, ABC, Morning Joe, all these people, the narrative is not, why did this individual kill all these people and what predicated it, and the questions behind why the police officers are standing down, paramedics standing down. It took 20 minutes to respond to a school shooting, and the first people to show up were the FBI to the scene and Secret Service, allegedly. I don't know. The facts surrounding this are really gray. Nobody really seems to know what the facts are. But we know that the deeper we go into this situation, the stranger it gets. So why did Eric Schmidt leave Google? It could be so that Eric Schmidt can just be free to move around. It also could be for much more nefarious reasons. If you paid attention to the timeline of Donald Trump signing the executive order in the middle of December, not exactly sure what the date was. I want to say it was around Christmas, the day before, or the day after, or maybe the day of. But Eric Schmidt resigned that very same day. So there is some rumblings out there that those two things are related. And if you look at that bill and what that executive order is, it's some pretty dark stuff. So basically, it allows the president to seize assets of people who are related to nefarious activities. And noted also in that is human trafficking, which we know means children. Some adults are trafficked, yes, but the majority of that industry, to my understanding, is children. Why has North Korea out of news cycle? So why has North Korea been out of the news cycle? Maybe they're not useful anymore. I don't know. Maybe they want the eyes taken off of it while they try and retake control via false flag incidents or illegal actions. What events change the news cycle? Basically, us questioning what happens, our interference within the mainstream media, the American public waking up and questioning the narrative. And when you let the public know too much about the truth, we start to ask questions. And it makes it much, much, much more difficult to pull off these false flags, these things where it starts to shape the country in the direction that we're moving. And they do that, like Q has said, through these false flags. And I'll let you all decide on your own what you believe are false flags and what are not. I want to be careful where I step with this, not only for the censorship, but also for these are kids that we're dealing with in a large part. With this kid who's been on CNN, the multiple of them, you know who I'm talking about. I'm a little reserved to start bashing them just because of who they are and their place in society. They're kids. They're much more vulnerable than. Even if they're older than what they're saying, even if they're 22, 23, think about yourselves at 22 or 23. And for those of you who are older, think about where you're at now. There is a vast difference between somebody, for most people who are 22, 23, and somebody who's in their mid-30s or mid-40s, just from a mental, psychological, and emotional development standpoint. And if you don't believe me, just think of the conversations that you have. Usually if you're 22, 23, you're talking about college classes, how you're going to pass. If you're 30, 35, you're talking about mortgages, insurance, stock market, political policies. I hope that's the way we're moving. But why didn't LV change the news cycle? Well, I think because the people have leapt in or jumped into the middle of this and started to analyze everything. You have a lot of people on these public forums like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, who are raising a lot of questions, and it's not as easy to push a narrative when there's pushback coming from a large group who is united, and that's what you're seeing. You have more than you know, and he's talking to us like, we the people, we have more than we know. Boom, he says, which leads us to believe that we're changing history. We can do this again. We have to stay together, and we must be strong in order for this to work. Understood? All right. I'm going to close with this slide. This is a Q proof. He posted this, and this is a reason why I'm going over this. You haven't seen me go over any Q proofs in the past. I haven't done any videos on it, but there are a lot of them out there. You can DuckDuckGo Q proofs or QAnon proofs, and you will see this kind of common format. Maybe not this flow chart of information. For those of you who are computer programmers, just love this stuff right here. This is right up your alley. But there are others that confirm correlation between Q's posts and tweets that are sent out between different agencies and government officials. Sometimes it's President Trump. Sometimes it's the Department of Defense. Sometimes it's different people within our government. But it is proof of correlation that he gives us. So let's get into it. How do we know Q is real? How do we know he's a good guy or a white hat? Not part of the silent coup desperately trying to take down a duly elected sitting U.S. president? Because he's been proving it like this for months. QAnon, Great Awakening, We the People. So here we see a post that Q drops January 13th, 2018 at 11:39. It says, have you not discovered the confirmed correlation between posts here and tweets yet? Q. So here we'll follow it down to number 1. Fascinating. On January 13th, Q asks if we trust the chain of command. Here on January 13th at 9:18, he asks, do you trust the chain of command? Have faith. We are in control. So here he asked that on January 13th. Today, the Department of Defense tweeted about National Geographic's airing of chain of command. Do you believe in coincidences? I think we know the answer to that. So here, the Department of Defense tweets at 4 p.m., about a day and a half later, January 15th, 2018, and here they are talking about the chain of command. And there just happened to be a coffee mug in the show with the letter Q. So if you weren't able to deduce it by what he was sending out here, he sends another correlation confirmation through the mug that is placed perfectly for all viewers to see. And again, this is how the intelligence community communicates. It's not on secret satellite phones. It's not on secured email. It's not on fax machines. None of that is secure. Tor, Secure Drop, Tails, any of it. It's not secure. It's all compromised. Now, it may take a lot more resources to track you down. It may take somebody who's more highly skilled in order to penetrate those different methods of staying anonymous. But rest assured, there is nothing digital that is secure. But he sets this out here for us, and I just think this is great. This is one part of this that I absolutely love, the subtlety of clear communication. So with that said, guys, I'm gonna work on another video probably later tonight, but I just wanted to touch on these things, and I just want to encourage everybody to hear the call for the American people to join, unite, find a way to communicate your ideas in a constructive, productive way that's authentic and sincere. And with that said, keep seeking the truth.